you know? And the hamburger was literally a bun, a patty, I think maybe a piece of cheese and a pickle or something, and another bun. Okay? But now, again, the food industry, again, it's what's called layered and loaded. They're layering and loading these fat, sugars, and salt combinations to get us to consume more. And so now you think, okay, I got a burger, I got cheese, I got bacon, I got special sauce. You know, so now you got the combinations of a lot of sugar in that sauce, a lot of salt. You got the fat in the bacon and the salt in the bacon. You got the fat in the meat, and you got the, it's layered and loaded, literally. Think about a drugstore. Used to go into a drugstore. Anybody been into Walgreens lately? You walk into Walgreens, where do you have to go to get to the actual, drugs? In the back. You got to pass the candy and the soda and all the other bright, colorful things in order to get to it. When you check out at the grocery store, why did they put all the brightly colored packaged candies and sodas right there? Because impulse buying, So it's, restaurants. You go into, let's say like Chili's. I have to admit, I went to Chili's recently. Cover up Nudita. I did. And, you go in there and they got this, they've almost made it like homey, right? They got all these little knickknacks all over the place. And, they got the TV. And they know you're in there with your friends and you're having this great experience of talking with your family or friends and the food and the smells. And, again, it's all building this multi-sensory environment. Think about we happen to get those Southwest egg rolls. This is a confession. And I had one of those, and I started thinking about that. This same time I'm reading this book, and so I'm thinking about, okay, let's think about this egg roll here. They take the chicken in there is really finely chopped, so the mouthfeel is real, pleasurable. And there's lots of fat and salt in there, and I was just thinking, wow, they've really done a good job in helping me build this network so that I would want to come back. And the thing is that as we just talked about, that the queue then becomes bigger than the actual consumption. So anytime if I never go to Chili's for another 5 years, but then suddenly because I've built these memories in the amygdala about these emotions around this experience of eating this great thing in this great environment, and I'm just walking by a Chili's and I'm like, wow. I don't even realize why. I feel like I want to eat at Chili's. And it's easy to go in and just have something, right? It doesn't matter where. It could be the same thing. You're walking through an airport. Oh, wow, I had, chocolate-covered pretzels, or I had, whatever, Cinnabon. You're at the mall. You don't plan to have a Cinnabon, but you're like, oh, wow, Cinnabon. And you have a Cinnabon. You don't even realize why. Well, this is why. Another great example of this is smoking. Did you know that nicotine in itself, all by itself, really isn't that powerful of a reinforcing agent? But when they actually combine it with the actual smoke, and years ago, the coolness of smoking, the sexiness, the cowboy, the package, the cellophane that crackled and crunkled, that's what really built, the addiction in many cases and reinforced it. Nicotine, it is addicting. We all know that. My point is that they make it more so by creating the environment that builds these neural pathways that make it very, very, very difficult to say no. And that's how they've changed it as well. That's Dr. Kessler really went after the tobacco industry and tried to make it more of a much more negative, ugly, kind of disgusting type thing as imagery, so that we would, and it's had some effect. It's not perfect, and not everybody, has quit smoking, but it has definitely changed. So here's the question: well, are you a conditioned hypereater? And so there's a few questions I'll pose, and you just answer these yourself. First of all, do you lose control in the face of highly palatable foods? Those that are layered and loaded. We just talked about that. When you see that layer and loaded food, is it just like, I gotta have it? And so you gotta maybe ask that question of yourself. Secondly, do you feel the lack of satiation or feeling full when you do eat? You just feel like you eat and eat and you never quite get full. Or you feel like you are full and you continue, you have to eat. That's probably even a better indicator. Thirdly, do you have a preoccupation with food? In other words, even as you're eating the very thing that you're eating, are you thinking about what am I going to eat next? Sometimes that happens. Or between meals, you're thinking about those types of things. Food rehab. Now, I know this isn't perfect and this isn't the solution right here, but just some things to think about, maybe some strategies to try if you feel that you fit anywhere in the spectrum of being a conditioned hypereater. First of all, replace chaos with structure. I think many of us just eat very chaotically. Whenever we can, whatever's available. As you participated in New Vita, that's part of the reason why we want you to do some planning and to follow the plan that you make. Because if you haven't structured things, you truly will eat whenever, whatever is available. Practice just right eating. I know Fran talks a lot about this. That, if you take the bag of chips and you go sit on the couch to watch a movie, guess what you're going to eat? The whole bag of chips. So if you're going to have chips, take a handful out, put it in a bowl, put the bag away, and then you're more likely not to eat the whole bag of chips. So, get what you need, put the rest away, and then you're less likely to eat more than you should. Pick foods that'll satisfy you but not necessarily stimulate you. How many of you were at the last Lunch and Learn that we did? It was on calories are not all equal, right? And I asked you the question, is there a diet plan where you can eat absolutely anything you want? Do you remember what the answer was? Yeah. I said, well, after you eat about 2 pounds of salmon and a couple of cups of cottage cheese and about 3 cups of vegetables and a bunch of fruit and, then you can eat whatever you want. And that's really the point, is that fill yourself with good, healthy stuff and you're less likely to eat the junk. So if you can help fill yourself with good, satisfying things, but not the things that stimulate that whole neural pathway and help you learn those things that keep it very difficult, then you're going to have more success. Rehearse. Anticipate problems. Think about, what causes me problems? Where do I get myself in trouble? If it's, the Starbucks is on the way to work every single morning, well, take a different route. Or, the vending machine is right by my office. I have to pass it every time I go in my office. Well, then just make up your mind. Right now, I'm just going to say no. I'm not even going to look, Whatever you need to do. But rehearse, anticipate the problems, and rehearse how you're going to react. When my friends who aren't on New Vita ask me to go out to lunch to Applebee's, what am I going to say? Or if I do go with them, what am I going to order? So kind of rehearse and come up with, what are you going to do, even before you get there? You can help. Seize control. Stay alert. Understand what the things that are that trigger you. Understand and recognize the things that, if it's that chocolate chip cookie or if it's, the blizzard or whatever it else is, understand it so that you can plan around it and you can anticipate what can happen. In circumstances as well, that if you have to start working long hours, that you tend to start overeating, then anticipate that and kind of plan for it. Stop that thought. When you start having that thought about, I really want to have it, try to distract yourself with something else, some other thought. Again, remember that alternative path that we talked about? Instead of going to release from arousal, try to get distracted into something else.